The Green Bay Packers have claimed former Raiders first-round pick Johnathan Abram off the waivers. This is a great pickup for the Green Bay Packers because Johnathan Abram was kind of surprisingly released mid-season by the Raiders. The Raiders could not find a trade partner for Johnathan Abram at the trade deadline. Abram was a starter for the Raiders until his snaps started to decline near the trade deadline. But he had always been a leader and a key personality for the Raiders, whether he's going on ESPN, debating Stephen A. Smith.
How about that damn Derek Carr? Now, we know he can play.
Wait.
I know it say damn Derek Carr. I'm not talking about like he can't play. I'm saying I expect him to produce.
Since 2015.
Joking around with his teammates.
Seared salmon or seared salmon?
Salmon.
Salmon?
And also not afraid to have some swagger against the media during a press conference.
Your development, like, do you think you're ahead of schedule? Do you think you're where you want to be? Where do you think you are in terms of developing as a player?
I'm right on time. Yeah.
Josh McDaniels, head coach of the Raiders, did not draft Johnathan Abram. He is a leftover pick from the old regime of John Gruden, part of the package of 3 first-round picks in that 2019 historic draft class. And a lot of people try to criticize Johnathan Abram and try to call him a bust at times. But there is a reason why Johnathan Abram was drafted in the first round, and there is a reason why Johnathan Abram has been a starter for the Raiders for the past 3 years. Johnathan Abram has always had superstar potential, but it has just been time that has been holding him back. In 2019, after a great performance on Monday Night Football against the Denver Broncos, Johnathan Abram was injured and would be injured for the rest of the season with a torn labrum. So he effectively had no rookie season. We are trying to get to 4,000 subscribers. Click that red subscribe button for more NFL content. Johnathan Abram would remain to start in 2020 with the Raiders, and he would make great plays, especially against the New England Patriots, picking off Cam Newton. But Johnathan Abram was mainly effective in the run game, one of the hardest hitters in the entire NFL, and he would also perform well in the box, even in coverage. And Paul Guenther, defensive coordinator for the Raiders in 2019-2020, kept putting Johnathan Abram in deep coverage, even though that's not what this dude excels at. And Abram would go on to be injured in the 2020 season, effectively ending that season as well, and would have to look forward to 2021. In 2021, under Gus Bradley's defense, the cover 3 defense, we saw Johnathan Abram have his highest amount of snaps in his entire career. Johnathan Abram would also have his highest PFF grade and coverage PFF grade in his entire career. Abram would be primarily in the box and punish receivers who try to run any kind of underneath routes. And we know that Packers players have become frustrated with the defensive scheme, but Johnathan Abram might be the perfect guy to complement this scheme, able to lay a big hit on a receiver when they catch something short. And the Packers are a great place for Johnathan Abram to go. He already has a relationship with Rich Bisaccia, who was the interim head coach for Johnathan Abram last year. He's also shared the locker room with Rasul Douglas, one of the starting cornerbacks of the Packers, and also Dallin Levitt, key special teams contributor, also a former Raider. And I'm sure after the Devontae Adams trade this offseason, Johnathan Abram and Aaron Rodgers will have a lot to talk about in the locker room. And for this season, it really wasn't Johnathan Abram's fault that he got released by the Raiders. The Raiders under Josh McDaniels declined the 5th-year option of all 3 of their former first-round picks, Josh Jacobs, who's having a great year, Clelin Ferrell, who's still currently on the team, and also Johnathan Abram. So even before we got into the thick of training camp, the Raiders had already kind of made a decision on Johnathan Abram. This new regime has no ties to Abram, and they've gone on to sign veterans like Duran Harmon to fill the void when Abram is gone. So the Packers may have found a diamond in the rough, and Johnathan Abram just might take off if given an opportunity. Let me know in the comments how you think Johnathan Abram is going to do with the Packers this year. Like this video if you haven't already, and subscribe to this channel for more NFL content. My name is Wi-Fi Willie. Peace out, and I hope you have a good one.